Hello everyone! Today, I'm going to give a brief overview of Mid Kennen. Kennen is a champion that used to have a high win rate in the mid lane, but is struggling a bit right now. The win rate appears to be close to 52%, but that's a bit of a trap. Champions with low pick rates but high win rates often have quirks or require specific team compositions to truly shine. Long story short, Kennen is definitely not a blind-pickable mid laner. The reason? He gets completely bullied in lane against actual mages. You should only pick Kennen in the mid lane when the enemy mid laner is a melee champion like Garen, or an assassin like Akali. Now for this game, our matchup is Teemo. But honestly, it's just a boring farm fest, where we're both just playing safe for CS, so I'm gonna break it down for you guys using a manga format. Kennen has a ranged basic attack and strong poke with his Q and W abilities, making it easy for him to take control of the lane against melee champions and short-range assassins. Kennen has a ranged basic attack and strong poke with his Q and W abilities, making it easy for him to take control of the lane against melee champions and short-range assassins. Against assassins, Kennen can push the wave early to create roaming opportunities, take vision in the enemy jungle, or help his jungler with the scuttle crab and river fights. After pushing the minions ahead of your opponent, following this priority list will make it easier to control the game. The perk of having prio is that you can check where your jungler is, pull up for the scuttle fight, or sneak a ward into their jungle entrance. Once you learn your ultimate, use your E skill for high-speed movement to aim for a roam to the bot lane. If Mid Kennen's ultimate hits both bot laners, you can almost certainly secure a double kill. Thanks to E's high-speed movement, slows, and stuns, Kennen has high gank evasion. Even though he doesn't have a blink, his increased movement speed combined with CC on hit allows him to handle both chases and escapes well. Since mid lane attracts a lot of ganks, this is a major strength. Hearing all this makes you want to lock in Kennen mid every game, right? Hold up. Sure, he shits on melees and assassins, but mages are a whole different story. You're gonna struggle hard. Kennen has ranged basic attacks, but his range isn't that long, 550. Compared to the spell ranges of pure mages, 800 to 1000 plus, it is much shorter, so before Kennen can get close to harass with basic attacks or Q, he gets hit by the enemy's skills unilaterally and gets poked down. Pure mages can safely and instantly clear minion waves from a distance using wide area skills. On the other hand, for Kennen to clear waves quickly, he needs to use his third skill, Lightning Rush, to body slam into the minion wave. However, if you do this against mages, the moment you dash in, you get hit by their crowd control like stuns or binds, take massive damage, and worst case scenario, you die right there. As a result, you get shoved under your tower and can't pull off your specialty, roaming to other lanes. Kennen's biggest strength is diving into the enemy backline with his ultimate, slicing Maelstrom, to destroy teamfights. However, if he keeps getting poked from a distance during the landing phase, he is forced into a constantly low HP state, leaving him with no room to risk it all for an all-in dive with his ultimate. If you happen to pick Kennen against a mage, you don't need to force pushes or kills. Instead of rushing damage items, prioritize completing your boots first to increase your movement speed and make it easier to dodge skills. Just play defensive, focus on undertower CS, and wait for your jungler to bail you out with a gank. Kennen's passive, Mark of a Storm, applies a mark when you hit enemy champions or monsters with skills. When 3 stacks of the mark accumulate on the same target, a stun occurs, rendering them unable to act for a short duration. Thanks to this passive, Kennen is not just a poke mage, but can become an initiator with area of effect stuns. Shuriken is a skill shot that throws a thin, non-penetrating shuriken straight ahead. It deals magic damage to the hit enemy and applies 1 stack of Mark of a Storm. With a long range, it's easy to use for harassing or assisting with last hits. Its speed is moderate, so you need to read sidesteps. Since it stops upon hitting a minion, shooting at an angle is important. Q is Kennen's main poke and trigger, and whether you can hit it changes how much pressure you apply significantly. However, when enemies use minions as shields, it's quite hard to hit in the landing phase. I don't take Q at level 1, and maxing Q is always last. Kennen's W passive Electrical Surge. Every time you auto, you stack up electricity. Once you hit the threshold, your next auto is empowered, dealing extra damage and slapping a stack of your passive on them. This makes your auto spacing and trading in lanes so strong. Just stack it up on minions, then walk up and smack the enemy with the empowered auto to win your trades. For the active, W zaps all nearby enemies who already have a passive stack or a W mark, dealing damage. That zap counts as a stack too. Land a Q or E first, pop W, and boom, you instantly stack him up. Huge range makes it god tier for teamfight DPS and spreading those stacks everywhere. In lane, the basic combo is hit minions to prep W dash, empowered auto dash, immediately press W active. In team fights, the standard is press W during your R to deal extra damage and apply stacks to everyone. Don't waste it. Checking if they already have a mark before pressing it makes you much stronger. E. Lightning Rush turns Kennen into a ball of lightning to move at high speed, dealing damage and applying a Mark of the Storm stack to enemies he passes through. When it ends, his basic attacks are empowered, granting bonus damage in a stack. With increased movement speed, it can be used for chasing, escaping, and positioning. Since you can move through minions, you can rush through the wave to close the distance on enemies. You can apply up to 2 stacks to a single target by hitting them during the dash and with the ending auto attack. For escaping ganks, use E away from the enemy and take the shortest route along walls. For an all-in, the basic pattern is pass through with E for 1 stack dash, immediate empowered auto for 2 stacks dash, Q or W to stun. In team fights, use E as your entryway into R, sliding right into the middle of the enemy team. Since he combines a movement skill, stack generation, and an auto attack steroid, it's a crucial decision-making point that can shift between offense and defense depending on the timing. Kennen's ULT, slicing Maelstrom, a massive AoE lightning storm centered right on you. For a few seconds, it keeps zapping nearby enemies, with every single tick dealing damage and stacking your passive. Since it's multi-hit, just eating a couple of ticks is usually enough to get stunned. If the enemy team is grouped up, you can chain stun all of them at once. Plus, you can still move a bit during it, so you can literally stroll right through the middle of the enemy team and rack up those hits. The bread and butter combo is E in, flash deeper, drop R, and instantly pop W. This is insanely broken in tight choke points where they're forced to group up. Think Dragon Pit or narrow jungle paths. Look for moments when their flash or mobility spells are down, and just send it. Kennen's ULT is literally your game-ending button. As a mid laner, you're usually around to match every dragon fight, so you gotta play around your ULT cooldown in force fights whenever it's live. Mid-game is all about contesting objectives like dragons, heralds, and outer towers. As Kennen, your macro boils down to 2 things. ULT is up, we fight. ULT is down, we stall. Always ping your ULT cooldown to keep your team on the same page. 4 front-to-back team fights around dragon or mid-tower, keeping these rules in mind will keep your game stable. Play just behind your front line, let the enemy blow their key cooldowns, and wait your turn. The second they overextend or group up in a choke point, you hit them with the E-Flash-R combo. Pop W mid-ULT to maximize your CC and damage. Don't get trigger-happy and walk up too far, or you'll just get blown up before doing anything. Use your tanks as meat shields, wait for the opening, and dive straight into their backline. Late game is all about Baron and Elder. Kennen is fundamentally a teamfight monster, so you really don't want to be stuck playing a full-time side lane split-push role for too long. It hurts my soul seeing a Kennen just perma-splitting in a side lane all game. Teamfights literally hinge on whether you show up or not. Go ahead and catch waves, but you gotta rotate back to your team ASAP. Late game rolls around, enemies get beefy, and you can't just unga-bunga run it down mid anymore. Your main targets are the enemy backline. Sniping their ADC and mages is priority number 1. Chain your flash and Hextech Protobelt together, dive straight into the enemy backline, and drop your full combo. Do that, and the fight is yours. And there you have it, a quick rundown on Kennen Mid. As a rule of thumb, lock him in when you know you're playing into a melee matchup. But hey, if you're feeling confident in your mechanics, go ahead and blind pick him into mages too. If this helped you out or you enjoyed the video, smash that like button and make sure to sub to the channel. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.